Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another very easy keto recipe for you. Today I am going to show you how to make easy keto egg roll substitutes. These are great. Not only are they easy, but once you learn how to make the wrapper part, you can put anything you want in there. It doesn't just have to be egg roll filling or spring roll filling. You can put anything you want in there. And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos, at least every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So, while you do all that, let's get cooking. In a large mixing bowl, combine 3 large room temperature eggs and 156 milliliters or around 2/3 cup of the room temperature milk of your choice. Whisk them together until everything is fully combined. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 28 grams or around a 1/4 cup of coconut flour, and if you want to, you can add some additional dry seasonings or dry spices to give your wrapper a different flavor. Whisk everything together until everything is fully combined and smooth. If you need to, scrape down the sides of your bowl a little bit. Gradually sprinkle in 4 grams or around a 1/2 tablespoon of gelatin powder. This is going to help keep your wrapper flexible. If you don't have this in, you're running a risk of your wrapper being more stiff, and then when you try to roll it, it can crack on you. When you are adding it, make sure that you sprinkle it in. Don't just dump it all in at once. And while you're sprinkling it in, make sure you are whisking constantly. This will help your gelatin powder to whisk in smoothly. If you just try to dump it in or don't whisk it constantly while you're sprinkling it in, it can bind together and then you will have a lumpy batter. Once the gelatin powder is fully added, give the mixture a couple more whisks just to make sure that the gelatin powder is fully combined. Then add 30 more milliliters or around 2 tablespoons more of the room temperature milk of your choice. Whisk everything together for a good 20 to 30 seconds. You just want to make sure that your batter is completely smooth and that all of the gelatin powder granules are completely dissolved. Then set the batter aside and let it sit for about 5 minutes. This is just going to help the coconut flour to be able to absorb the moisture, and this will help bind your ingredients together so you have a little bit more of a sturdy wrapper. While the batter is sitting, preheat a 6 to 8 inch skillet over medium heat for about 3 to 5 minutes or until the pan is heated. After your batter has sat for 5 minutes, check the batter and make sure it is the right consistency. Your batter should have thickened up just a little bit. You want this to be a thin batter, thin enough to be able to pour it, but not as thin as water. So you want it to have some thickness to it, but not so thick that it can't be poured easily. Lightly grease your preheated skillet with a little bit of oil or some cooking spray, just a light layer, not a lot. Make sure it is fully preheated before you start pouring your batter in. Lift the preheated skillet slightly off of your heat, then slowly pour about 3 tablespoons of the batter into your skillet. While you are pouring it, make sure you are constantly swirling or tilting the pan back and forth while you're pouring the batter in. You want there to be just a very thin, light layer of batter that completely covers the bottom of your pan. The whole key to keeping your wrappers flexible so that they don't crack when you go to roll them is keeping them very thin. If you're using a smaller pan than mine, again, mine's 8 inches. If you're using a smaller pan, then you'll need to use less batter. Once the batter is in a thin layer across the bottom of your pan, place it back on the heat, cover it with the lid, and cook for anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute or until the wrapper releases easily from the pan and is browned on the underside. Mine took about 40 seconds almost exactly to cook on this side, but depending on the heat of your pan, it can vary a few seconds or so. These do cook very quickly because they are very thin, so really make sure that you check it After 30 seconds or so, or in my case 40 seconds, and the wrapper releases easily, use a long spatula and carefully turn the wrapper over. Then cook for another 20-30 seconds. For me it was 30 seconds exactly, or until it once again easily releases from your pan and is very lightly browned on the underside. So one side of your wrapper is going to be more browned than the other side. Once both sides of your wrapper have been cooked, then remove it from your pan and transfer it to a plate or a cooling rack. Then lightly re-grease your pan with a little bit more oil or cooking spray. Again, just a light layer, very, very light. Then continue to repeat the pouring and cooking process until all of your batter is used up. Make sure you are always lightly re-greasing your pan before you start a new wrapper. If you don't do that, your wrapper is most likely going to stick. Also, when you place your wrappers on your plate or your cooling rack, make sure you don't stack them directly on top of each other while they're still warm. They can stick together like that if you do that. Once your wrappers are all done cooking, line a clean work surface with parchment paper or a silicone mat. And to assemble the egg rolls, place one wrapper on your work surface, turn the darkest side up. Place about 1 to 2 tablespoons of the filling of your choice onto the lower portion of the wrap, about a third way down on the wrapper, roughly give or take a little bit. Doesn't have to be exact, you just don't want it all the way down at the bottom. Gently fold the sides of the wrapper over the filling, then roll the wrapper up around the filling, kind of like you would be rolling a burrito or a sandwich wrap. Then set it aside seam side down until you're done filling all of the wrappers. Continue to repeat the filling and rolling process until all of the wrappers are completely filled. As you are filling this is going to be your moment of truth as to whether or not you made your wrappers too thick. My first wrapper that I made, I actually made it a little bit too thick and it did crack, but I corrected that and made it thinner. They were just fine. Also, you can put any filling you want in these wrappers. All I did for my filling is I finely chopped up about 2 cups of mixed vegetables, which for me was shredded carrots, shredded zucchini, a little bit of finely torn butter lettuce, a little bit of finely torn baby spinach, and some sweet peppers. I just seasoned them with some Chinese spice seasonings, a little bit of ginger, about a teaspoon of liquid aminos, stir-fried them for about 3 minutes, and that was my filling. Once your wrappers are all filled, preheat your air fryer to 360 degrees for about 3 minutes or until it's warmed. While the air fryer is preheating, brush each one of the egg rolls with a light layer of oil on all sides. Lightly grease the bottom of your air fryer, then place the coated egg rolls in a single layer in your air fryer basket or drawer. Make sure you keep these in a single layer and leave some space around the edges of each one of them so you can have a nice even cook. You might have to do it in a couple batches. Air fry at 360 degrees for 4 to 7 minutes or until the outside of the egg rolls have darkened and are lightly crusted. Once your egg rolls are done cooking, open up your air fryer and let the egg rolls cool in the drawer or in the basket for about 2 to 3 minutes just so you won't burn your fingers. Then remove the egg rolls completely from your air fryer and place them on the serving plate of your choice. Alrighty, so we have my little egg roll here. I cut it in half so you can hopefully see a little bit of the inside there. I hope you can see that. I don't know if you can. But anyway, you can see the inside of the egg roll. You see the filling. Also, as you can see on the edge, I overcooked mine just a tad bit there, but it's okay. So, let's see what this bad boy tastes like. Yummy. Yeah. That makes for a nice substitute. Now keep in mind that this will not have the exact texture of an egg roll. You're doing this with coconut flour. Coconut flour doesn't get as crisp or as crunchy as anything made with traditional flour. So you're never going to get that super crunchy outside. It does get crusty and it has a little tiny bit of a little crunch to it, but don't expect anything super crispy. But even though I did overcook it, it doesn't taste burnt. I mean, it still tastes good. It doesn't taste super bad, except for on this very, very, very dark edge. That has a little tiny bit of a burnt taste, but the rest of it doesn't taste burnt. So it tastes really good. It's a good substitute. So I like it. Hopefully you like it. You can eat these immediately. If you do have any leftovers, allow them to cool completely, then store them in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 3 days. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.